Back on TYT Sports, March Madness is a coming, right?
I cannot believe that.
I can't either. I think
It's
we're
been
already
nearly
at.
yeah.
But do you know what happens after March Madness? Baseball starts. The real season.
And on that note, I went from
If we did
12 back down to 6.
If we did 3 baseball clips a day, would you quit?
No, man. If I could talk about Kurt Schilling.
Just all the time. All right, so there's a couple of guys to be looking out for in the tournament. The focus that I took with these 3 players is their ability, obviously on the floor, and how they help their team. One of which isn't going to be playing in March Madness, and that's Markelle Fultz, but he's going to get some attention because he's probably going to go number 1 in the draft. And last year, around this time, we were talking about Ben Simmons would be number 1 overall in the draft, and we haven't seen him play yet, but...
And we didn't see him play in March Madness,
What does Joel Embiid say? Trust the process. So you're going to figure that. Did you know what Ben Simmons is doing right now?
He's trusting the process.
He's processing.
Oh, he is.
Processing.
But he's processing at that rate where you're like, usually in
Are you
the
going to play?
the PS1 processing, you're like, come on, just go.
Dial up.
Take
What was the
forever.
sound that you used to have when you tried to get on
Oh, I hated
AOL?
that.
Or you didn't have American Online. You probably had SOL, Scottish Online.
Jason, AOL is a international company.
Yeah, right, but American Online, it could be Scottish Online. They could have had all of them. Australia Online. China Online.
This is where I would imagine the video would be one on Facebook where it would zoom in on my face.
They
and
could
I'd
have
be like,
LOL Latavia Online. God, I can crack myself up. But so first off, Draft Express. Is it Draft Express? No, mockdraft.net, who's pretty good when it comes down to projecting who the top 10 overall picks are going to be. From the usual suspects, we have that graphic, I'm pretty sure. It's, Lonzo Ball at UCLA right now. He's going to be somebody that's going to be really fun during the tournament, besides the fact that UCLA is a very good basketball team this year and could be looking at a 1 or a 2 seed. Keep your eye on guys like Dennis Smith from NC State when you're filling out your brackets. Backcourts get you to the Sweet 16, and there's a very subtle chance with Dennis Smith there. Duke, as always, boo, but they're always going to have some great NBA elite talent. Kentucky has 2 guys. I have no idea why De'Aaron Fox would go over Malik Monk in this situation. I think Malik Monk is the better NBA player, but again, good backcourt players.
But who would you rather for the Knicks?
For the Knicks, I'd love if Josh Jackson would fall to the 8th pick, or the Knicks just win the lottery. Francis, we have some tape here. We have some B-roll. I'm not going to use the music because I think the music is made for like Ball is Life. I don't think we can use that music. So some B-roll we have for you. We're going to begin with Josh Jackson. And Josh Jackson's at Kansas. He's probably the most NBA-ready player in college basketball, and that's why when you watch him play, he does these little things. His basketball IQ is not just through the roof in terms of being a freshman, if I'm correct, he is a freshman. It's the way that he averages like 3.5 assists a game for a guy who's not even responsible for handling the ball. So he's got that ability to see the floor. He knows where his teammates are. So we can run that B-roll at any time. It's just there's no music for it. You'll see. The fun stuff are the dunks, as always, right? But, it's 2017. You can see millions of players dunking. We're going to get to another clip on a guy who's become a professional dunker in the NBA. It's more the fact that this is all from high school, and just at such a young age, he was a spot-up shooter. He can work off the dribble. He was nasty.
He's filthy. By the way, what grade is Lonzo Ball, really quick?
He's a freshman.
As well.
They're all. Everybody in the top 10, according to mockdraft.net, is freshman.
Yeah.
This one-and-done system is crushing college basketball.
No doubt. Lonzo Ball will be one to watch. I'm always excited to see UCLA, especially last year. I mean, last year they were not the best basketball team, but not only that, is March Madness needs players like this. Like, this is why last year Ben Simmons, many people felt that it was an injustice that we couldn't get to see him play in March Madness, because regardless of what you think of the one-and-done system, we know how stupid it is. We should let these players just go straight to play in the NBA, which many of them would. But if you're going to have it in place, this is why it is in place. It's because it's going to attract the viewership into March Madness, which, for me, as I've stated several times on this platform, is the most watchable sporting event in America. The most watchable sporting event, like, hands down. I like watching the Super Bowl. I love watching the NBA Finals. But overall, this event just captures something so magical about it. The passion. Being a college athlete myself, I know how much it means to you. Like, you're not bought. Many players are trying to put themselves in a shop window for the NBA. I get that. But they play from the heart. And that's what's everything about sports, which is so good. So I'm just going to throw it to Jason in a real quick, off-the-cuff, way too early prediction as which team are you looking at to maybe make some moves? Not the obvious go-to. I mean, we know Kansas.
What, to win the championship?
Not win it. Maybe a team that you're like based on a player that you think can help carry them
who can
through.
Dwayne Wade them to the Elite Eight? Well, here's what sucks is like Duke is really prepped to like win this tournament. They have so much top to bottom talent. I'd be really surprised if Duke doesn't make the Final Four, even though we're all rooting against Duke. And everyone asks why, because man, unless you went to Duke, and we work with someone who went to Duke and at Cranston, you're not allowed to like Duke. It's just. First of all, Grayson Allen, aside from being a good basketball player, he's a child who needs to be put in timeout because he's 10 and he needs to get his PlayStation taken away.
Yes,
that's what Coach K needs to do because that's the way he plays basketball. Having said that, it's going to be frustrating to watch Grayson Allen play really well in the tournament and possibly be a part of the reason with Harry Giles that Duke makes a run. Kansas is prepped to win this year. UCLA has a chance because of players like Lonzo Ball, and Kentucky's always in there. I actually think that Michigan, who has a low-key really good defensive team, I'm not sure where they're going to fall in the bracket. They might be like a 6 or 7 or 8 seed. That's a team that could pose some problems. They come out of the Big Ten tournament. They're always around. It's not the same Trey Burke, Glenn Robinson, the third Michigan team that was all together a couple of years ago that made a great run to the Final Four or Elite Eight, if I remember correctly. But Michigan's a team to keep on the radar. Michigan State, keep it in state always. Tom Izzo's time is March. And Arizona.
Are they the Wildcats?
They are the Wildcats. Richard Jefferson played at Arizona. A lot of guys. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson played at Arizona. I mean, I'm missing like 15 of them, but still. All right, we can move forward. Let's go right to Markelle Fultz. Let's talk about the guy who's not playing in the tournament. Right? Okay. But is still going to be dominating headlines in March because he's, regardless what happens with Lonzo Ball, Josh Jackson, this 6'4" point guard who has a 6'10" wingspan. Watched Mike Korzemba's video recently on this. Fan of Mike Korzemba. I love the people. Every time I say this, they send me tweets like, you watched the other NBA YouTuber who talks about the NBA all the time? Yes, guys, we both work for YouTube essentially, so we both are talking about similar topics. He did a really great like 15-minute breakdown where I'd say like 95% of everything he said I agree with, minus like 1 or 2 things of Markelle Fultz. For one, the argument that he's not going to be playing in the tournament is not something to worry about, and his team, because his team isn't that good, I do worry about those things a little bit, right? He's not Ben Simmons, who just has this amazing passing ability that will translate to the NBA. Markelle Fultz is 6'4" point guard, and he has a lackadaisical approach to defense. Now, he says he likes playing defense, but it doesn't appear that way on the court. And at 6'4", I get the wingspan is there. How quick are your feet? So that's the only thing I have against in terms of that video. Everything else, spot on. So I'd encourage people to watch that. And as you saw, and then lastly, Malik Monk, before I ramble on for 45 minutes on this video. Look, man, the Kentucky backcourt, John Calipari and his pitch for, I mean, that's not a bad pass, but John Calipari and his pitch for come to Kentucky, you'll be a #1 overall pick in 2 years, boom, win me a championship. So it could be Calipari year with that backcourt. He's not bad, by the way.
When was the last time, who won it last year again? It wasn't Villanova, and then the year before was Kentucky, or was it
Duke? We beat Wisconsin.
When was Kentucky? Was Anthony Davis's year, right? Is that the last
they
time
won with Anthony Davis. Did they win with Anthony? Yeah, Kentucky won with Anthony Davis. Yeah, they lost with DeMarcus Cousins, John Wall, Eric Bledsoe, and Patrick Patterson.
2 years back.
It's a solid team.
What a team that is. I'm just trying to remember, because Kentucky, Kansas, always there or thereabouts. Duke, always there.
Last year, will it get better than last year? Because Marcus Page hit the scissor kick 3 that could not have gone in. The same Marcus Page that I'm sitting in this chair a year ago from today saying, I love UNC. I love what their program stands for. I want Marcus Page to play well. I just don't think he has it in him to have the takeover ability. And then in like 3 straight games, Marcus Page sits there and goes at the most prime time. He wasn't playing great basketball through like the first half of those games, but then he turned into Isaiah Thomas in the 4th quarter, and you wanted to get him the ball. Veterans. Look out for the veterans in the tournament, as always. But that was Chris Jenkins. For the championship!
Remember it. What a memory. What a memory. I can't wait for the tournament.
Are you on the ball bandwagon?
it's close to my house. I mean, I'm not a big UCLA fan, but I like the idea of this family. I feel like everyone's kind of rooting for this family. Half of them are rooting for them to succeed, and the other half's rooting for them to fail because everyone thinks they're better than them.
That's so absurd.
Yeah,
that
and
people
I think it's
for them
true.
to fail. Like two of them are in high school.
Yeah.
They're literally children.
I just like the aura that surrounds them. Like to have 3 people in like one family as gifted. And obviously one of them that's making a name for himself. Everyone who I know that goes to UCLA can't stop talking about how fun the games are, especially when you have him going off. So I'll be excited to watch it. I'll give them a slight root. I'm also, I don't know, man, I kind of became a fan of Wisconsin because of Frank the Tank a few years ago.
My father went there, so I grew up watching a lot of Wisconsin basketball. But
I'm a huge fan of
Whittier, not in the tournament this year.
Yeah, not in the tournament this year.
You or I might make it. We're 3rd in the A-10s.
Huge fan of, and I always forget his name. He was the coach of bald guy, great coach.
Shaka Smart, VCU.
Shaka Smart.
But now he's at Texas.
Now he's at Texas.
They're not playing so well.
Well, that's unfortunate.
They lost last year to Northern Iowa on the bank shot, half-court shot. I bet on Texas. I remember that. That's one of the worst defeats
Shaka
in my
Smart.
life.
Great coach. All right.
Comment in the section below. There's a lot of guys on this list. TJ Leaf deserves some shout-outs. He's a UCLA guy. And the international guys, too. I mean, keep an eye out, as always, because you don't know which one of these players is going to be Giannis in a few years. There's always one. Nikola Jokic. Sorry, Jokic. Do your research, Jason. It's not Jokic.
You're having a joke.
If you think I'm going to learn pronunciation at any point in my life,